Welcome in. If you're looking to understand the key events and critical votes that really defined this past week in Congress, you're in the right place.
We're going to be breaking down everything from Saturday, November 8th, right through to the procedural wrap-up on Thursday the 13th.
And we're going straight to the source material, the congressional record, to see what actually happened, what the numbers tell us, and what's coming next.
Our focus today is really on one pivotal piece of legislation, the government funding measure. That's House Resolution 5371.
And you'll see how it required, well, a very strong coalition in the Senate and some incredibly delicate maneuvering in the House.
Absolutely.
Before we get into all that, if you enjoy getting this kind of analysis, please take a moment to like and subscribe. It really helps us keep bringing you this content.
So let's start with the main event,
Yeah.
the Senate and the battle over the Continuing Appropriations Act.
Right. The pressure was on, so much so that they were forced into some rare weekend sessions just to get the ball rolling.
They were. On Saturday, November 8th, they were already stuck on the very first procedural step.
And that's not even about the bill itself, right?
Not at all. This was just about the motion to proceed, basically just getting permission to start debating the bill.
And that's where the drama really started to build, leading into late Sunday night.
It did. Late on November 9th, after a very long session, they managed a key procedural move. They agreed to reconsider a cloture vote that had failed a few weeks earlier.
Okay, so can you quickly unpack that for us? What exactly is a cloture vote here, and why was getting a do-over so important?
Sure. Cloture is, the mechanism to end a filibuster, to stop endless debate in the Senate. It requires 60 votes.
A supermajority.
Exactly. So by agreeing to reconsider that previously failed vote, they were essentially hitting the reset button. And when they voted again, it passed.
By how much?
Precisely 60 yeas to 40 nays. That was vote number 610. And that vote broke the logjam.
60 to 40. That number is more than just a tally, isn't it? It's kind of a fingerprint.
It is. It's the signature of this very specific bipartisan coalition that decided to push this through, no matter the opposition from either side.
And we see that same 60-40 fingerprint again and again on Monday, November 10th.
We do. The formal vote to proceed to House Resolution 5371, 60 to 40.
Then the vote to adopt the big substitute amendment, the one with the new compromise text.
Also, 60 to 40. That coalition was locked in, it was precise, and it was holding strong.
And it was strong enough to defend the text, too. There was an attempt to change a provision, wasn't there? Something about the definition of hemp?
There was, yeah, an amendment from Senator Paul's office, but it was overwhelmingly defeated, tabled by a vote of 76 to 24.
Wow, that's a much bigger margin.
It is, and it shows that even senators outside that core group of 60 wanted to protect the compromise. They didn't want anything to derail it.
So all of that work finally led to the final passage in the Senate.
Yes, the amended bill, now with a much longer title, passed by that exact same margin, 60 yeas to 40 nays. Then it was sent over to the House.
And that's where the game completely changes. It's not about finding 60 votes anymore.
No, in the House, it's all about managing tiny, razor-thin majorities.
And the math there had just changed a little bit, too.
That's right. Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva from Arizona had just been sworn in after a special election. So the total number of members was up to 433.
Making every single vote count.
And we saw just how much on the key procedural vote. This was the vote on what's called the previous question.
Okay, so in plain English, what does passing that motion actually do?
It's the majority's power tool. It basically says, debate is over, we are voting on the final bill right now. If that motion fails, the minority party can potentially take control of the floor and change the bill. It's the firewall.
And the vote was?
Extremely narrow. 216 yeas to 213 nays.
Just a 3-vote margin.
Leadership had almost no room for error, but they held the line.
And once that was done, the final passage was basically locked in.
It was. The House then voted to concur with the Senate's version of the bill, sending it to the president's desk. That final vote was 222 to 209.
It's interesting, though, that while this huge funding fight was consuming all the oxygen, other work was still getting done.
Oh, absolutely. The Senate in particular was moving on some significant bipartisan items, especially for veterans.
And they did this on Sunday, right in the middle of the funding battle.
They did. They passed 2 bills. The first was the Veterans Compensation Cost of Living Adjustment Act, which increases compensation rates.
And the second one.
The Lactation Spaces for Veteran Moms Act, which requires VA medical centers to have dedicated lactation spaces. Real quality of life improvements that have broad support.
And beyond policy, the Senate also passed several resolutions. These are more commemorative, right?
Yes, things they can all agree on. This week they marked the 50th anniversary of the sinking of the SS Edmund Fitzgerald and the 50th anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War.
I saw they also honored the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Marine Corps.
They did, and they even added a specific amendment to recognize the liberation of Helmand Province. They also honored Dr. Jane Goodall and designated a day to celebrate first-generation college students.
So a lot of consensus building happening in the background.
Exactly. And the House committees were busy too, filing reports on all sorts of issues.
Right, things totally separate from the budget. I saw reports on terrorism threats from generative AI.
And the TSA's role in protecting pipelines from cyber attacks.
And even a measure about ensuring cars have access to AM radio stations.
The legislative machine is always running on multiple tracks.
Now, before the week ended, the House also took a moment for some more somber business.
Yes, on Wednesday evening they passed House Resolution 874, which expressed sorrow on the death of the Honorable Richard B. Cheney. They adjourned that night as a mark of respect.
A moment of unity there. And then the Senate immediately signaled what's next on their agenda.
They did. They're pivoting straight from legislation to the executive calendar. They've already set up confirmation votes for Tuesday, November 18th.
And who are the nominees?
First is Hone to be a member of the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, and also Donald Korb to be chief counsel for the Internal Revenue Service.
So the focus shifts to personnel. And the House leadership was busy with appointments as well?
That's right. A few appointments to boards and foundations, just part of the regular business of the chamber.
So if we synthesize this whole week, it really feels like a tale of 8 chambers.
It really does. You have the Senate, where success depended on building that rigid, unshakable 60-40 bipartisan bloc.
And then you have the House, where it was all about that procedural tightrope walk, winning by the slimmest of margins, 216 to 213.
Exactly. But now that the funding fight is over for now, consider this contrast as we look ahead.
Right.
The moment the high-stakes legislative battle ends, the Senate pivots directly to confirming key executive nominees for places like the NRC and the IRS. So it makes you wonder, does the certainty of those upcoming nominations, the need to get these critical agency positions filled, does that influence how compromises on the big funding bills are reached? It's something to think about as Congress maps out its plan for next week.